Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira from Munira's Musings, your coach and host. I am here with Brittany Sherrell. She's here from all the way from Vancouver. Hi, Brittany. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Marina. Thank you so much for having me on.
You are welcome. So, Brittany is a sex and intimacy coach, and I am very curious as to how she got to her niche. And before we do that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I am the niche navigator, and I help you align your niches to your riches. That's what I do. And Munira's Musings came about when I saw several different people, extraordinary people doing extraordinary things in this life, and I thought I need to send this message out to the universe and share this message. And that's how this show came to being. And if you're interested in being on my show, go ahead and contact me and we can get you scheduled for an appointment. But I am more curious about Sherrell and what she does. So Sherrell, thank you again for being on my show, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm from Delta, British Columbia. I'm just south of Vancouver. I actually live on a farm here. I was blessed to grow up on a farm as a child. And I don't have any kids, but I do have a kitty. Yeah, and I'm super passionate about really removing the shame and having people fully embrace themselves as a sexual being.
So how did that come to pass? I mean, when was this awareness in your life? And, take us through that journey that you took.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I used to be quite shy, and I always felt kind of disconnected. There was a part of me that was disconnected from myself, and I always remember being quite a sexual person, but I remember feeling shame around it, but not exactly knowing that that was actually shame. But I realized later on that from society and from my upbringing, there was a lot of shame around that. And so as I began on my personal development journey in my 20s, I started to realize things and see what kind of blocks and barriers I had. And I got to see that I had this huge block around sex, and all these issues kept coming up around sex for me. And so once I started to become more open sexually and remove these like limiting beliefs and the shame, I noticed my confidence rose. I stepped into my power. I felt a lot more empowered in my life. And yeah, I was no longer shy. I was just I'm very secure in who I am now. And I see that sexuality is so linked to our self-confidence, and it's a huge part of who we are. And so if we're not accepting that part of ourselves, we're disowning a huge part of ourselves.
So tell me, when you talk about sexuality and sex and everything, are you talking about the physical act or the terminology and the feeling that you have that you're not sexual enough?
Yeah, so all of it really. A lot of it is pleasure. So tapping into being able to experience pleasure in our lives, and like owning that pleasure and fully embracing it. And then also the act, so like self-pleasure and also sex with others. Yeah, so I just became a lot more open to that and accepting.
Would you would you tell us what kind, would you like to share, I should say, what kind of limiting beliefs you had about sex and sexuality?
Um, I remember when I was younger, um, like whenever I did do some like self-exploration, I had this feeling or this thought, this belief that there was someone up above, like God or my passed away grandparents, that were watching me and kind of like condemning me. And so that kind of feeling just kind of stuck with me, that it was like sex is bad, it's dirty. Yeah, just all these things, especially masturbation. Like masturbation is bad. And so it wasn't so much like conscious thoughts, it was more of these feelings that were ingrained into me, this programming that I had from my upbringing. And I wouldn't say it was like from my family household. Mostly I would say it was society at large, for sure.
So if we are sexual beings, then why is there such a big taboo around this?
Well, I think with anything, anything can be taken to the extreme and can be harmful. And there has been a lot of cases where it has been taken to the extreme. And also, a lot of religion has suppressed sex. And it's just a theory of mine, but I believe that it comes from them wanting to control, because when you suppress sex, then you control a society and you control those people's power. And so I believe it's come from that mostly. Yeah.
How does one overcome it? I mean, so having self-exploration, like you said, is that normal? And if that's a taboo, then how do people come over it? And is this healthy?
Yes, self-exploration is very healthy. We, a lot of people don't even look at themselves in their mirror. I know a lot of women that haven't even looked down at their vaginas, like they've never even seen them, because there's just so much shame around it. And it's so healthy to know our bodies through and through. And for someone to overcome that, it depends on what level they're at with the shame, like they might have experienced abuse or anything around that. So I highly recommend like having someone like myself or a therapist to walk someone through that, someone who's specialized in sex, because there's a lot of therapists or counselors out there that aren't specialized in sex, and a lot of them aren't comfortable talking about it. So it's great to have a guide, someone walk them through overcoming these obstacles, trauma, limiting beliefs. But a great first way to start tapping into that is just noticing like your pleasure, tapping into your senses and feeling into your body. And just like when you're taking a shower, just like notice the water dripping on your body and just really like feel yourself in the moment. And I highly recommend a self-pleasure practice. And that could just start off with, meditation or taking a bath or something like this. But when you are comfortable enough and you are in a safe place, I highly recommend exploring yourself down there in your body and all that.
What kind of breakthroughs do you give your clients?
Like self-exploration?
No, I mean, if anybody were to work with you, what kind of breakthrough would that be?
Yeah, so what I notice comes up a lot is like going from the shame and like sex is bad, especially with women. There's a lot of shame around sex, and so a lot of breakthroughs that people have are like, well, sex is actually really beautiful. Like we come from sex, and sex is sacred, and so it's just total transformation in the way someone views sex. And when they see that, they actually own their power, and they're able to be authentic, not only with themselves but with others, especially their partners, which is huge. It has a huge impact on relationships.
Okay, so what comes to mind is 50 Shades of Grey books, right? Have you read them?
I'm sorry?
The 50 Shades of Grey, the books that,
Oh.
have you read them?
I read part of it, and I did watch the movies. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because that created quite a buzz in the society, in the world. So what are your thoughts on that, and how would you recommend them?
Would I recommend the movie or the books?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the person. If someone's open to exploration and doesn't really know where to start and stuff like that, like it's a movie that kind of just opens your mind. As for my thoughts on 50 Shades of Grey, I think it's great as far as opening people up to new possibilities and not thinking that everything has to be a certain way. Because I really believe that there's no one way to live, no one right way, or there's no wrong way to live. Obviously, there is like a degree of morality there, but I think us as human beings, we take morality to a whole nother level. Yeah, so I mean, there are some dangers, like, you know, when you do take sex to another extreme, and it is a very powerful energy. If you're not around someone that you fully trust and you're doing those kinds of things, like the things that they were doing in 50 Shades of Grey, you know, there could be a lot of trauma there, and someone could get hurt. So you want to make sure that you are with someone that you fully trust. And I don't think there's anything wrong with what they do in that movie and the books.
Okay. So you said that the people who come to you are these they get more confident, and because they can harness their own power. Is that what you're saying? Am I saying
Yes.
that correctly? Okay, so
Yeah.
do you have clients as couples? Do people come as couples, or are they just individuals that come?
Yes, they come as couples. I like to work with couples as individuals at first, and then if anything comes up where I think that we need a session together, then we'll do that. But I find it most effective to work with individuals. They tend to, you know, I like people to focus more on themselves, so that they have this empowerment and there's no blame or guilt with the other person.
Okay, so how does one contact you?
Yeah, so you can contact me through Facebook, or you can contact me through email at brittanySherrell@gmail.com.
Wonderful. And so folks, if you are interested in learning about self-exploration in the subject of sexual activities and sex, go ahead and contact Brittany Sherrell, because she's going to allow you to harness that inner power and allow you to understand it. Although we are on an interview, I know we're still not very open about this, because there's a lot of people watching that may not like the subject. But it is a fascinating subject, and like Cheryl said, and Brittany said, that we are a product of sexual activity. So why not explore it a little more and see if this is something that there is a power in that we can harness. Who knows? Any last words that you want to tell us before we leave?
Yeah, just I recommend just be curious, explore life like a child, see things as you've never seen them before, feel things that you've never felt them before, taste, and see people like you've never met them before. Discover life in a whole new level.
That's an awesome advice, you know. And so thank you, folks. Thank you so much, Brittany, for being on my show. I appreciate it. And for those of you who are watching, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, because we are looking for the next guest on our show, Munira's Musings. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.